YouTube, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Gunplay TV, and today, as we can see on the table, we've got a few Appendix Carry inside the waistband holsters, this time from the guys at Vedder holsters. Now, Vedder is an all-American in-house operation based out of Florida. They offer quick shipping, and they currently accommodate over 250 gun models with over 75 color choices, a few of which we have on the table here today. So, before we go any further, I'm going to ask that you pause this video now, scroll down, take a look for that subscribe button, and once you've found it, go ahead and give that a click for me. I do appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Reach for the sky.
All right, guys, so as I said, Vedder holsters based out of the great state of Florida here in the United States of America, and they are going to accommodate quite a few of your everyday carry style pistols from small to large. We've got a few of those here on the table. In fact, I've been using Vedder holsters personally for quite a while. And so when they reached out and offered to send a few products by to grace the review table, I jumped at the opportunity. So again, shout out to those guys at Vedder. Once more, an all-American manufacturer based out of Florida. Now, as I said, they're going to offer a few different varieties, and what we're looking at here on the table is actually what they call their LightTuck. Okay, and so the LightTuck consists of a spring metal clip, which I do like. A lot of these style inside the waistband holsters nowadays are using a polymer clip, and while polymer is lightweight, maybe doesn't dig into your shirt or your belt nearly as much, it certainly doesn't have necessarily the same reputation for longevity. So I always like to see a metal clip. In fact, on any of my holsters, I typically will opt to spend a few extra bucks to get a discreet carries metal clip or what have you, right? It's always nice to have that all metal construction. Now, as we can see, we've kind of got the multicam black or the night camo theme going between these two holsters, and they do offer quite a variety of colors. I'll roll some of those up on the screen. In fact, this is one of my older holsters from Vedder. This was probably the first holster that I purchased for any of my firearms. This is for a SIG P320, and this is, of course, just the standard black, right? I've got a little rust on my screws. You can tell that I've used it at least just a little bit. Now, this is one that I use quite a bit more, and I've modified it a bit. We'll get into some of those things down the line. But, you know, this has a, I think it's a Raven concealment wedge that I glued onto it. This is a Dark Star wing or a Dark Star gear wing that I added for better bite against the belt, right? But one thing that I've never had to change or upgrade again is going to be that metal clip. And for that reason, I always like Vedder for using something like that and something that has a little bit more longevity and durability. Now, one other thing that I like that Vedder includes as an option is going to be their claw. Now, this is, I believe, it's a $5 add-on. If I'm mistaken, I'll put that up on screen. You'll see these called wings, claws, etc. from different holster manufacturers. But essentially what it does is as you clip this into your belt, you know, of course, your belt is going to run across the front of the holster, and this is going to help to push the grip of your firearm further into your body, and thus reducing printing. Now, if you've ever carried inside the waistband at Appendix or 12 or 1 o'clock, you're likely very familiar with the feeling that everybody can kind of see the handle of your gun printing through your shirt. Those claws are going to help accommodate you in that regard. Now, again, a small upgrade, and I think it's always worth it for anything that's especially a larger pistol. I think that you're going to be well served by having a claw of that nature. Aside from that, right, as we take a look around these holsters, Vedder has pretty consistent and pretty thick Kydex all the way around. Now, of course, it's not the stiffest stuff by nature, and it's going to be flexible, which is what you want. You want your gun to be able to snap into this and keep some retention. And we'll take a look at this with some actual firearms here in just a bit. But all in all, I've been very pleased with the Vedder holsters. Now, as I said, I've used one for my P365 for years now. This is, of course, in their black basket weave pattern, right? Kind of similar to what you see a lot of police carrying, or the older style police stuff. I just like the way it looked, and I'm very happy with this. Now, again, to kind of point out, right, the consistency in their Kydex. I've had this for quite a while, a few years now, as I said, and even looking at my older P320 holster here, we can see that the consistency and thickness of the Kydex has not changed over time, which is one thing that I am happy to see. Their quality control seems to be very consistent, and they got these out to me extremely quickly. Now, the two holsters that we see on screen right now are actually made to accommodate maybe two of the market's more popular subcompact or micro subcompact options, one of which you've already seen on the channel previously, the Taurus GX4. If you haven't seen my video on the GX4, I will put a card up at the top so you can check that out. A very good option from Taurus, especially at the price point, and it comes in more or less in line with what you would expect from a SIG P365, or furthermore, a good contender to what we see here on screen, right? And we'll put a video up of this shortly. This is the Shield Plus from Smith & Wesson M&P. Okay, and so again, of course, these pistols, as usual, safe and unloaded, and we'll verify that on screen together. And as I drop this in, we'll find that we've got good retention and lock-in. Now these, of course, come with, again, a variety of options and in a variety of colors. We'll see that both of these, once more verifying the pistols are clear and safe, we'll see that both of these actually are optic ready or optic cut. And so once more, kind of coming back to Vedder's options and their spec page, if you will, you can do quite a lot with the configuration of your holster. Whether you need a threaded barrel, if you've got a compensator potentially attached, maybe they can keep this this front end more open to accommodate that. Again, we've got an optic cut on each of these holsters to accommodate the addition of an optic. Now, of course, the shield here, or the Shield Plus, I should say, already has that optic plate. With something like the Taurus GX4, that's something that you can add down the line. And if you anticipate that you might do that, instead of having to come out and throw an extra $70, $80 or more at a holster, you can go ahead and get the optic ready or the optic cut holster out of the box. Now, in addition to that, not something that we'll see here on the table today, but Vedder does also accommodate light bearing pistols. So they have light bearing options that will accommodate your common Streamlights, Surefires, etc. And of course, you can option that out on their custom page, right? But again, quite a few color options. We've only got 2 of those here on the table in addition to some of my oldies, right? But one thing I want to point out about Vedder is their retention system. Now, a lot of holster OEMs, manufacturers, this is something that you've come to expect. What you'll find here in the bottom of each of these holsters is, I'm not sure if this will show up on camera, but there's actually a metal O-ring between the Kydex where the claw mounts to the other side, right? And so there's a kind of a rubber O-ring in there, and as you cinch this down with your standard Phillips head screwdriver, you can get more or less retention. Now, for me, I typically like my pistols to be well retained. I want to be able to shake that upside down and not have to worry about that coming out, right? And so I find that out of the box, the GX4 is quite tight. Now this one here for the Shield Plus, I'll probably accommodate that by locking that down just a bit. But again, something that I wanted to bring to people's attention. You can always adjust that if you want more or less retention on your particular pistol. Now, in addition to that, one thing that I am a fan of with Vedder, they've kind of taken a different approach when compared to a lot of other holster OEMs, and that is their clip. Now, we did mention that it is all metal. We'll see that they kind of have 2 variants here. This is actually a shorter one for a shorter length pistol here. But the key thing that I want to point out is you get adjustable cant, if you will, with this particular system. Now, I like to keep that bottom screw all the way tightened down, and if you need to adjust the way that the pistol sits on your waistband, left or right, or maybe you want that grip kind of pointed up, or maybe you want it closer to your belt line, you can quickly and easily loosen this bottom screw, or this top screw rather, depending on your point of view, and you can simply push this to the side, left or right, and that's going to adjust the way that that pistol sits on your belt. Okay, so again, a very easy one-stop shop solution for your everyday carry pistols. Now, Vedder, these things are not expensive at all. In fact, the LightTuck Kydex inside the waistband holsters that we see here on the table start at $69.99, pretty much $70. Now, of course, additional options. If you want to spec some things out, mix some things up, you're gonna have to pay a couple extra bucks to get a claw or maybe a custom Kydex color. But all in all, for a starter holster or right out of the box, you just really need something to accommodate your pistol, just to protect that trigger or that trigger guard. You really can't go wrong with Vedder. Now, again, I'll kind of close with this. One thing that I will always say is imperative for any holster that you call a quality holster is going to be that trigger guard and trigger guard protection. The mark of a good holster, in my mind, is one that does not allow you to inadvertently, one way or another, access that trigger while it's locked into the holster. Again, so this is where adjustable retention comes in. You don't want this to slip or come off inadvertently in your pocket or in your purse or what have you, right? Because there's a wide variety of use cases for a holster, right? Maybe you keep this in your drawer. You certainly don't want any items running up into the trigger guard and potentially actuating that trigger when you don't want that to happen, right? And so regardless of whether you carry inside the waistband or not, regardless of the type of holster that you carry, in my mind, it's imperative that that trigger be inaccessible while inside the holster and that you have good retention. And that's one thing that I can say in my experience has always been the case with Vedder. Again, this is one of my EDC holsters, right, for the SIG P365. I've never had an issue with this thing coming loose. I've tightened it down just to where I like it, and it's been reliable since day one. Again, quality Kydex, made here in the United States, and it's really hard to find any flaws, especially at this price point when you can be spending close to double, if not more, on a variety of different holsters based on the features and the name brand, patterns, things of that nature. Vedder really does come out of the gate with something that's ready to go, very much adjustable, and will get the job done for a fair price. And once more, right, made here in the United States. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up for the Vedder LightTuck. So once more, this is going to be their appendix inside the waistband option, right? Typically you're 12 to 1 o'clock if you're right-handed, maybe if you're left-handed, 11 o'clock to 12 carry solution at the end of the day, right? And so again, a very good holster for the price. It's very hard to beat. Now, I did also mention that Vedder does have a variety of options, right? Now, in addition to the LightTuck that we see here on the table, right, and its wide variety of customization options within its particular platform, Vedder does also offer additional holster options beyond appendix inside the waistband, right? Both inside and outside the waistband for your varied use cases, right? And so one of the inside the waistband holsters that I did want to bring to your attention, and we'll do a separate video on this here in a bit, is actually the Vedder Comfort Tuck. Now, this is for the folks that like to carry at the hip, maybe you're 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, maybe as far back as 5, right? And this is going to have a leather backing so that when it sits up against your body, you might find this a bit more comfortable. It does have some of the same adjustability settings and capabilities, but again, it's kind of a hybrid holster, and that's why I want to cover this in a separate video, being as it is 1 part Kydex and 1 part leather. But we'll take a look at this later. Now, in addition to that, again, Vedder does also offer a variety of outside the waistband options. They offer belts and other accessories, right? And so I'll roll some of those videos in as we proceed, but I've got a few other goodies from Vedder that I want to bring to you guys, so stick around and keep an eye out for those videos. But in the meantime, if you found this video educational, inspirational, or entertaining in any way, shape, or form, I'm going to ask that if you haven't already, go ahead and seek out that subscribe button and smash that while you've got a chance. Also, while you're down there, leave a like, leave a comment. It really does help to push these videos through the algorithm. With all that being said, I'm gone.